Class voice. Okay. Where in the world is Mesopotamia? This world map is zooming into where Mesopotamia is. As North America and South America go out of the picture, Mesopotamia was centrally located between three different continents: Europe, Africa, and Asia, and located on trade routes that ran between these three continents, people trading resources from their particular area. This made Mesopotamia a highly sought after land to control, and therefore a number of different empires rose and fell over thousands of years. Here is the term you should be familiar with, the Fertile Crescent, and the two words refer to the land itself. Fertile because it was good agricultural land to grow crops, and crescent refers to the shape, the crescent moon shape that it has. The Tigris and Euphrates rivers are located there, although they are not labeled. And on the left-hand side of the map, the Mediterranean Sea, where the crescent kind of runs up the coast and down, curving down to the Persian Gulf. Empire, one of our words in history. It basically means a nation that has conquered and controls other nations, bringing them under their authority. And that's what happens in Mesopotamia. One city-state conquers other city-states. There were a number of empires in Mesopotamia, and that's due to two facts. One is it was a trade route. It was good to control the trade route. And the second one is it was an easy place to conquer. Flat land, easily accessible to other peoples to come in. Akkadian Empire, probably the first empire in Mesopotamia, Sargon being the man who started it all, probably one of the first historical characters that we know of due to written records. The city-state of down on the southern tip of the Mesopotamia area near the Persian Gulf dominates the Mesopotamia area for a period of time. His boy Hammurabi, he establishes the first Babylonian Empire, and Hammurabi is famous for his written law codes. They are the oldest known written law codes in history. In the near future, you will be performing some skits demonstrating court cases of these law codes. Next up on the Empire hit parade is the Assyrians. One of the great things about Mesopotamia are the names, like Mesopotamia, Sargon, Hammurabi, a couple we haven't heard of, Sennacherib, Nebuchadnezzar, and then Ashurbanipal. Ashurbanipal was the last great king of the Assyrian Empire, and fair or not, the Assyrians are labeled as being cruel. Well, to give you an example, when they conquered a city and they wanted to count how many citizens in that city were killed, they just cut off their heads and count the number of heads that they could throw in a pile. We're back! The Neo-Babylonian Empire. Yes, the Babylonians come back for a second try at empire. Neo meaning new, Babylonian Empire. I should mention here that it's the Neo-Babylonians and the Assyrians who end up conquering the Israelites in Jerusalem, way over there on the left side of your map. And it's the Israelites who we will be visiting next after Mesopotamia. The Persian Empire, as you can see, a much larger empire than the previous empires. I talked about a future unit, the Israelites, when I talked about the Neo-Babylonians. The Persians also have a connection to, well, the Israelites, and another unit in the future, the Greeks. Ever heard of Marathon or Thermopylae? The Persian Wars with the Greeks is in our future. Thought those empires were big? Check this one out. Alexander, not good, but great. Alexander the Great's empire. Alexander the Great was a Macedonian, which is an area just north of Greece. Now the Macedonians consider themselves Greeks, although the Greeks did not consider the Macedonians Greeks. You follow? Well, it's all a relative thing. Alexander is credited, though, with spreading Greek culture. It's actually called Hellenistic culture because the Greeks called themselves Hellenes. This is getting confusing. But anyway, Alexander spread Greek culture all the way to Reading, Massachusetts. Yes, I said Reading, Massachusetts, where you live. Do you know what I'm talking about? Here's our boy again, Hammurabi, and this relief shows Hammurabi receiving his law code from the god Shamash. This stone is known as Hammurabi's stele, and it contains his law code, and you can just barely see it written in cuneiform from the relief at the top to the bottom of the stone are Hammurabi's code of 282 laws. This reminds us of our essential question. How does flooding lead to laws? How did the flooding of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers lead to Hammurabi's code and his laws written on this stone? Flooding is one thing, and it leads to written laws. But there is so much more in between. A step-by-step process, a cause and effect relationship. And when you write about this topic, you must show all of the steps. Think of a chain with its links. The first link being flooding, and the last link being written laws. Everything is connected, and you must show all of those links. Think about the essential question as we do this activity today. You will be villagers living in the foothills of the Zagros Mountains in Mesopotamia. You cannot raise enough crops to feed your growing population, so you decide to move down to the river plains. Now you can settle anywhere you like on either river. You can settle in the north or the south, near the Persian Gulf, along the Euphrates, or along the Tigris rivers. Along the way, you'll also be making other decisions that will hopefully show you how city-states developed in Mesopotamia and how that development starts the process of our cause and effect relationship from floods to laws. Keep that question in mind when you make your decisions and when you think about this activity.